If there is infrastructure, if United States and NATO missile systems appear in Ukraine, it will reduce their flight time to Moscow from 7 to 10 minutes, and in the case of deployment of hypersonic weapons, to 5 minutes.
President Putin speaking there. Well, let's get some more analysis from our international affairs editor, Armen Georgian. Armen, welcome to the studio. What was the military infrastructure that President Putin was talking about just there?
Well, there's no NATO base as such in Ukraine because Ukraine is not a member of NATO, but cooperation between Ukraine and NATO has intensified. There was an important meeting, for example, in late October, which discussed technology transfer, among other things. NATO members have also increased their presence in the Black Sea, which has put more pressure on Russia. And interestingly, also, Ukraine has acquired military help from Turkey, including drones, which were used to devastating effect in the Nagorno-Karabakh war a year ago. Turkey, of course, being a NATO member itself, and the US since 2014 has provided various forms of aid to Ukraine and, various know-how, which Ukraine now has that it didn't have in 2014 when that conflict erupted in eastern Ukraine. So I think the backdrop to Putin's comments there is this shifting military balance between Russia and Ukraine as a result of this help that Ukraine has got from NATO particularly. And of course, Russia still has by far a bigger army than Ukraine. But as I said, Ukraine does now have this technology and know-how, which is changing the balance a bit now.
Okay, and are we hearing anything from Ukraine itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these military activities by Russia for President Zelensky of Ukraine simply underline, as far as he's concerned, the urgency for Ukraine to join NATO and the European Union. And in his latest comments, he was pushing back against the idea that is sometimes expressed by national security doves in Europe and in the US that, the West should be careful, should take things slowly, not rush into offering Ukraine membership of NATO and the European Union. Let's take a listen now to President Zelensky.
We cannot accept the theory that is now very popular about Ukraine joining the European Union in 30 years and joining NATO sometimes in about 50 years. It demotivates us and it slows us down.
So I think NATO now is in a slightly tricky position. On the one hand, there is pressure now building on NATO to speed up that process, to give Ukraine a membership action plan. That's obviously pressure is being led by President Zelensky, but not only by him, also by what is known as the Lublin Triangle, which is Ukraine, Lithuania, and Poland. That group is now essentially ramping up those same efforts in response to what both Russia and Belarus are doing in the neighborhood. So NATO, of course, is well aware that not only did it offer Ukraine the possibility of NATO membership as far back as 2008 at the NATO summit, but it reiterated that possibility at the June summit, the NATO summit in June of this year. So that's at least twice that NATO has affirmed this path towards NATO membership for Ukraine. Ukraine is now saying, well, where are the concrete steps to actually bring us into European Euro-Atlantic integration? On the other hand, the West does also have this dependency on Russia and Russian gas during the winter, when Russian gas is obviously needed to heat European homes. So it is a bit of a dilemma for the West in that sense.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. Our International Affairs Editor, Armen Georgian. Thank you very much.